Arsenal are fighting for that first title in a very long time, and this next game off the back of the international break is at home against Leeds United. And this is the moment, I think, overall, where I always say it, the teams down the bottom start winning games when they haven't been able to, and the teams at the top start to get a little bit tense. I think if this game's played in November, this is 3-0, easy peasy for Arsenal. But because of the moment in time for them, for Arsenal, coming back off that great momentum that they had, a great victory against Fulham recently, is this much harder a game than people would probably expect? Or are we clutching here?
Maybe clutching a little.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe a little.
A gentle clutch is there. Yeah.
I think it's a clasp.
Yeah.
You're clasping at straws.
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah. So I get what you're saying. I think Leeds have always been sort of an unknown quantity this season anyway. That's why they sit in 14th. Anyone who sits in that kind of purgatory level of the Premier League, it's like, cool. See what happens when they come on the day.
Well, I don't think we know anything about the whole of the bottom half of the league, because from 12th down, Palace have got 27 points. Although 12th, you're going, result.
Yeah.
You're like 4 points off going down. Leeds are 2 points clear at the moment in 14th. So, yeah, no one knows anything, does they?
It's a mulch, really, isn't it? Like, that's what it is, a team. And at the same time, there have been a lot of managerial changes. There's a lot of people sort of changing little bits up. Leeds might not have Noto, and then there's plenty of different reasons why things are sort of changing there right now. So I can see Arsenal just controlling this game, trying to minimise the counter-attack, and really they're pretty good at that. So why would we not expect them to lead sort of play into their hands?
Yeah. Do you expect any kind of change from that fluency from Arsenal? They've won the last 4 against Leeds United, 19 goals in the last 6 matches. But as I said, you have that international break. That international break almost kind of came at a strangely bad time for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you expect them to sort of pick up where they left off?
Yeah, 100%. This is an Arsenal team that everybody keeps on waiting for them to slip up, and it doesn't happen. But in recent weeks, maybe they've pulled results out the fire, if you think about the Bournemouth game. But this is an Arsenal side who deserve to be top of the league, and they are there for a reason. They've not only got quality, but got resilience. And by the time they play at 3 p.m. on Saturday, they could have a chance to maybe go 11 points clear if Liverpool beat Man City. So it's in Arsenal's hand right now, and I don't expect Leeds to have anything for Arsenal. But if you remember the game they played earlier in the season, it was quite a feisty one. And Arsenal got quite lucky in that one. They won 1-0. Gabriel got a little bit lucky that he wasn't sent off. I know that Patrick Bamford was rolling on the floor like an idiot, but it was a game that Arsenal could have lost. And it was the game that I watched, and I looked at the way Arteta reacted after the game in terms of the celebrations, and that was when they had the bit between their teeth and really gave them confidence to go on and do what they've done this season. So Leeds are a problem for anybody, especially under Javi Gracia, where he's made them a little bit more pragmatic. They don't ship as many goals. They're a little bit more frugal. But this Arsenal side should have enough to break them down. And if they score an early goal, then it could be 3 or 4.
I think you're right. The thing, I want to kind of give Leeds something here, because I have seen those improvements, and you can see that the way that they're playing. There's a really interesting comment from Junior Firpo, who was kind of, certainly written off by myself, written off by a lot of people. And he came from Barcelona, played in that left-back position, and really, really struggled. But he scored recently, and he came out and he was saying that what we're doing now is we're using our wingers. You've got Harrison, you've got Nonto there, and Harrison with a much freer role, actually, and the opportunity to get in the box. And that's the thing with them. They're using a lot more width now, which Firpo was focusing on. He said it was very difficult when you've got such a narrow team. There's not many options for you to play. It feels a little bit more calm and systematic for Leeds. And also importantly, which is hopefully something that will continue for them, is that game against Wolves. They scored 4 goals from 4 shots. Now that sounds like a negative stat. The problem with Leeds, and the reason why Jesse Marsch didn't retain his position, was because the performances were all right, but they just couldn't take their chances. Now, when I'm watching them, I'm seeing bodies in the box, I'm seeing crosses into the box as well. And I think if they can use that counter-attacking style that is obviously clearly embedded in them, get those bodies in the box, against an Arsenal team that, we were just talking about Bukayo Saka and how Arsenal are going to be playing moving forward, and how they're going to have a lot of bodies higher up the pitch. And generally they are able to control it. I do think there might be something there for Leeds in transition. Yeah,
they're just getting good. Arsenal are getting very good at... They are, though. They are.
No, I was just like, that was me. Leeds United fans, hit the like button, by the way. That's me giving you a branch there, an olive branch. Clasp it, okay? Clasp it.
Arsenal are getting very good at breaking up that counter-attack. There's a reason that you have those guys in midfield. There's a reason that you just leave 2 at the back. And, part of Zinchenko's DNA, having been at Man City, is that you're really good at just cheeky little professional foul on the way back.
Yes.
And frankly, if you push teams wide, I'm sure they can run in at one of the two great centre-backs that Arsenal have had this season. But really, they've shown they can deal with that sort of thing. And I think if you go punch for punch with Arsenal this season, it's yours to lose.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you need to offer something in transition. I think that's what Bournemouth did and kind of scared them a little bit. It was actually like the first 15 seconds of the game. They were using Philip Billing as a sort of a third runner. And it was one where Saliba then didn't know, he could see him coming, but they already had a striker up there. This could be something that they could do, where they utilise Bamford, if he's fit. You never know if he is or he isn't.
Rodrigo's on his way back as well. He came off the bench in the last 2 games before the international break, and he's their top goal scorer this season. So if he's, again, not the best in transition, but he's fox in the box who can score goals if balls do come in from out wide.
Yeah, it's been very, very hot this season. So I think they have a couple of different options this year, and that would be the thing. That home advantage has to be huge here. And I think what you would expect Arsenal to do is win that battle of the centre of the pitch. And you think of Weston McKenna and Rocker up against that midfield 3 of Arsenal. That's going to be very, very difficult for them. The other key area we've spoken about a couple of times, Nonto up against Ben White. Ben White is flavour of the month right now.
With no Tomiyasu to back him up either. Yeah. So that's actually a substitution that Arteta likes to make quite a lot. So I'll be interested to see whether there's a whole 90 minutes in someone like Ben White where there's an issue there, whether if they try and change things up tactically and they don't have a right back that can slip in there, whether that works in the same way. But then they've had the international break to work a lot of this stuff out. So, it's not like Arsenal just sort of sit there and go, we'll just wait, and Leeds just sort of working hard every day like a Rocky movie.
But maybe they are a tiny bit, just from the fact that, I'm not sure this totally works in the Premier League, but certainly every single player that's in that Arsenal squad is off on international duty. So like those teams, they're not working on anything because no one's there. So there might be a few more bodies at Leeds at least to get themselves ready for it. Yeah. We circled around it a few different ways, but how do Leeds win this game? Is there any way that they can?
Well, they have to revert to what's in their DNA, what they've learned from Marcelo Bielsa and what they learned from Jesse Marsch. And you saw them get great results. David O'Leary.
Sorry to cut you off, but yeah.
I'm afraid Ian Hart's actually retired. So
right, that's sad.
Yeah, that's done for them. Yeah. But they're a team that can attack teams on the counter-attack and they can hurt teams, and we saw them get results against Liverpool this season. We saw that great game against Nottingham Forest as well when they really pulled it out of the fire and got the result for the manager, and they do need to get a result because they are what they are, almost relegation fodder at this point. So they need to utilise their strengths in terms of pacing behind Arsenal, but you expect Arsenal to squeeze the game and control it, and if they get an early goal, like I say, it could be quite a messy night for Leeds.
Ripple effect for you here, right? I think it could be based. I know Arsenal will say we never look at other teams' results. City play before them, and part of me, as the experienced Liverpool fan here, saying, "Oh, what happens with City at the end of the season? When they lose, sometimes you lose. When you win, sometimes they." I'm interested to see what that Liverpool-Man City result is, and the killer instinct of Arsenal here. If Arsenal go out there and try and get it because City have lost, or if they get out there because City have won and they've lowered that points difference again, I think that's Leeds' best opportunity here. Either way, they're going to have to ramp it up.
Yeah. That's really interesting because I guess that's one new facet that probably very few people have discussed, is that battle of the timings of the games is one huge part of a title race.
And you only know it when you've been in a title race as well. You only look at those timings when you sort of go, wait, we play 12:30, they play 3. You want to be those points ahead.
Do you want to go first or do you want to go second?
I think you always want to go first.
I want to go first. And Arsenal going out of the Europa League means that they can go first in a few of these weeks as well. When they were playing Thursday, Sundays, they're always going after City. So I think going after City or going before City will definitely help an inexperienced Arsenal team in this title race.
Europa League as well is an important one. I think, obviously the fact they're not playing in it is very key, but also the fact they got bad games out the way almost. And I'm not saying you get a quota of bad games, but the fact you can acknowledge your shortcomings in those games rather than in a Premier League game, which realistically is what they want to win, is great for Arteta.
Yeah. That Nonto Ben White battle, I think that's the one for me, because I think, as we've kind of alluded to numerous times here, this should be bread and butter for Arsenal at home. Yeah. Absolutely no excuse.
Game before Liverpool as well. So these are the games you have to win. Yeah. It's these other results that you don't want to be relying on, especially because in this run-in they have a lot of big teams. And there's no disrespect to the Leeds, the West Hams, the Southamptons, but they have to get results there. It's the other games where you really want to be able to expend 100%. You've got 10 games left. Yeah. Each of these, It's just a cup final, mate.
Yeah, really.
And it's,
Ding, ding, ding.
it's so exciting as well. I'm just looking at the fixtures, and obviously they've got Leeds this weekend, and then it goes Liverpool away. They never get anything at Liverpool. I don't expect them to get 3 points there. And then you've got West Ham. You expect them to beat. And then you look at the road, like there's 4 fixtures in a row. You got
horrible, mate.
You got Man City, you got Chelsea, you got Newcastle, and you got Brighton. That's going to be tough.
Sorry to cut you off, but that's also the shortest number of days in between each of those games as well. So each other game has got a week in between. These ones have got 5 days, 3 days. They are playing a slightly diminished City team, though, because City play something like 4 games in 10 days. So they play Bayern Munich, Sheffield United, then I think Brighton. So those are also draining games going into those. So it's not like Arsenal are the only ones with all this sort of fixture build-up. If anything,
and you don't know what Brighton you'll be finding there. Newcastle as well. By that point, you might have 2 teams that have gone, oh, okay, we're not going to be in the Champions League race this time. Just to finish off that, I think the one thing that gives Leeds something is because Nonto, with that change of pace, if he gets a Ben White, that Tomiyasu point is very, very good because you get a book in early doors. I can see us sending off here with Ben White against him
and
for
also,
sure. And that changes everything.
Love Bukayo Saka. Absolutely love Bukayo Saka. He doesn't like going the other way anymore. He's a little, not big time.
Problem. He's an attitude problem.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
He's so good going that way that he doesn't need to go that way as much, and that could leave Ben White exposed against Nonto.
Okay, interesting. Go on, give us a score prediction.
I think Leeds will score. I think it'll be 3-1. I think one thing we never talk about, by the way, is how good Ramsdale is in these kind of games. Ramsdale, against big sides, you always expect your goalkeeper to be good. But with a Leeds where they've got high XG, Ramsdale just loves that XG. He eats it up. You've seen the saves he's made this season where it's like, that's going in. No. Yeah. Let's just give him a bit of credit.
Okay, 3-1. I think 3-1 as well. Just to say, I think it's a good shout.
Go 3-0 Arsenal.
3-0. Wow. Okay. No excuses, guys.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.